Hey guys. I see people are starting to get in. If you can hear me, say hello. Hey guys. I see people are starting to get in. If you can hear me, say hello. Oh, I need to turn that off. Hey guys. I see people are starting to get in. If you can hear me, say hello. Oh, I need to turn that off. Hey guys. People are starting to get in. If you can hear me, say hello. Okay, let me know if you can hear me now. That would be good. All right. Can you hear me? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. I had to turn everything off and whatever, trying to figure all this out. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, say hello. Yes. Okay, good. All right, awesome. Okay, good. Thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate it. All right, we'll wait for just a couple more minutes, get everybody on, and then we'll start the video or start the webinar. All right, I got to finish it like right around 6 because I have another appointment at around 6 o'clock or so. So we'll get started right on time today. Tell me what everybody's doing. Are you guys hanging in there? What's happening on the home front? Are the kids driving you insane? Let's see what else. What else could be happening? Are you running out of food? What about toilet paper? How's your toilet paper stash? What else? What about what's going on in the life? All right, how's business going? Is it good or not good? Are you just sitting home bored? What's going on in the real world? Actually, I'm gonna take this sweater off. I'm getting kind of hot. Put in the chat what's going on in your life so I know what's going on. It's like the older I get, man, the hotter I get. I don't know what's going on. Something's happening, right? Something's happening. Okay, Brad said he's trying to keep real estate deals together. Totally get that. Oh my gosh, totally get that. Yes. Heather's talked to a seller yesterday. What did the seller say? Tell us. What did the seller say? And you know, what is it good or is it bad? What's going on? And let's see, Larry says, how is your collections? What collections? I don't have any collections. What kind of collections? Like for, oh, you mean for like, maybe for like to collect rent for tenants or what? I mean, actually, we haven't really had any issues with the tenant rent. I mean, there's a couple of people that said, hey, I'm going to be late and stuff like that. So then, you know, we say, okay, well, let's just come up with some payment plan or whatever. But most of the tenants are paying, thank God, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, and if they are going to be late, then, you know, we'll just work with them. You know, right now, everybody's kind of just, I mean, I would hope that the people that I can't pay, like if I couldn't pay anybody, I would hope that they would work with me, right? So in the same respect, we're just working with everybody. You know, it's just a crazy time right now. You know, I wish it wasn't happening, honestly, because it kind of screwed up my whole 2020 goals and stuff. But, you know, so then I kind of like veered to the right and I'm like, and I have a couple of more things that are going on. But anyway, so Heather says a small facility, 31 units, needs the right price, at least 150K, going to do my due diligence. Awesome. Okay, so Heather is one of my students. So she's looking for a storage facility. She's in the Columbus area. So, and so run your numbers and just see like what 31 units is kind of small for $150,000. So you got to run your numbers and just see what is the price that what's the expenses. We'll get into all that actually today. So we're going to get on that. So people are coming on. I see everybody's coming on. So we're going to start here in just a minute. Introduce yourself into the chat. Say hi to everybody. I mean, everybody on this call is all interested in storage facilities. You know, we're all trying to just, you know, make it like, you know, we're just trying to make it right now. So introduce yourself to each other, help each other out. I'm not going to really pay attention to the chat. because I'm going to be teaching, you know, so if you guys, you want to talk to each other and help each other out, that's cool. Sandra says, got my notepad ready. My kids are definitely driving me crazy, but business is doing good. I'm learning some new things about how to make digital projects that have been interesting. I have Zoom meeting with someone I want to be my new realtor at 6, and he has a pretty good reputation for finding high equity deals, so I'm excited. Awesome, I love it. Well, Carson's on, looking for some golden nuggets as I expand my business. Awesome. All right, yeah. So you're going to hear, introduce yourself to everybody, right? Say hi, look at what are you looking for? Why are you interested in storage? So put it in the chat. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'm actually not going to pay attention to the chat until the very end, and I'll pull up the questions and then we can go through, I'll go through and answer everybody's questions. So you can put questions into the chat. It's just that I'm going to focus and just kind of stay focused right now and not get sidetracked. All right. Because we got a lot of things to do. So anyways, let's see. Kelly says, I'm Kelly here in South Atlanta. I'm interested in mobile homes and storage. Awesome. All right. Well, you guys all came to the right place. I'm here. I'm going to start the presentation. I'm going to share my screen. And let's see if I can find my presentation. And we'll share that. And let's get started here. I think that's here. No. Like, it's just, when you only have like a small laptop, it's kind of hard. Okay. All right. Well, welcome. Okay. So today we're going to go over how to wholesale storage facilities. Okay. So I have a student that's closing on a deal today. He's wholesaling a storage facility. And guess what? He's making almost $100,000 on that deal. $100,000. All right. So it is definitely possible to wholesale storage facilities, and it's possible to make a lot of money. I wholesaled one and made 50 grand off of it. So definitely possible to make a lot of money on wholesaling storage facilities. And that's why I like wholesaling storage facilities, honestly, is because you can make a lot of money. All right. But, you know, in some respects, like, you're not going to make a lot of money, right? So sometimes you're make, you know, 10 or 20 grand, and sometimes you're going to make 50 or 100 grand. You know, it all depends on what type of facility and, you know, how well you get the price, you know, under contract and things like that. So that is what we're going to talk about today. All right. That is what we're going to talk about today. So let's get started. Okay. So the agenda for today is, all right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the coronavirus and the storage facility, the storage industry. All right. And we're going to go over a little bit on that, but not too much, right? Who wants to hear about the coronavirus? Nobody wants to hear about that anymore, right? You know, so let's just not talk that much about it. Challenges of finding storage facilities. We're going to go into that. How to wholesale and find storage facilities. Why focusing on passive income is the single most important thing you should be doing right now, right? So that's what we're going to get into today. Okay, so first of all, why self-storage? Why self-storage? Let's see. I want to make sure everybody can see me in the chat too. I just want to make sure before I keep going. So you guys can all see my screen. I just want to make sure everybody can see everything. Where's my chat? I can't see what I'm doing at all. I don't know what is going on with this thing, but I just have a hell of a time with Zoom on my laptop. Uh-oh, let's go back. Okay, well, why is this not coming up? I don't know. I have no idea. There it is, like this, there it is. All right. Okay, awesome. There it is. Okay, good. Okay, we can see. Awesome. All right, just want to make sure. Okay, all right, next. Still trying to figure Zoom out. Oh my gosh. It's like just a whole new thing because I was using Big Marker beforehand, and you know, but then I was like using Zoom to do all my coaching and stuff like this, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to use Zoom, and now I have to figure it all out, and it's just been kind of like crazy. All right, anyway, so why self-storage now? Okay, so we're going to get in real fast to the history of the real estate market, kind of what's going on with the storage facility. Interesting, times are changing, but like, why storage? Why now, right? Okay, so if you were on a previous webinar, you've seen this JPEG before, but I really love this JPEG because it gives an overall view of essentially like what's going on in the commercial real estate market since like February 21st, when like coronavirus started coming into play, right? So what are all the markets that are going to take the biggest hit? All right, that's the question. What should you not be focusing on right now? Okay, so here is what you should not be focusing on in the commercial industry. Okay, so senior housing, all right, you definitely don't want to be focusing on that, right? Skilled nursing, right? Lodging, you know this, like short-term rentals and Airbnbs are just, they're going to have a hard time. I think even till the end of the year, they're going to have a hard time because people are just not going to do a lot of traveling this year. They're just not, you know. Gaming, student housing, malls. So any huge, you guys already know this, any huge big buildings, all these like Ross's and Marshall, and then like a Target and a Lowe's and all these big like retail places, you're going to see like a lot of those places are going to close down, right? A lot of them are going to close down, and then they're just going to be empty. And it's like, you don't want to be like investing in anything about that either, right? So manufactured homes are going to take a hit. Mobile homes are going to take a hit, right? And strip centers, offices, definitely don't want to be investing in office buildings right now. You don't want to be buying any place where there's like, you rent your office out, right? Because everybody's just going virtual now. And I think a lot of people will actually stay virtual even after all this goes on, because they're like, why would I pay for, you know, we already got it all set up. Like, why would I go pay that additional expense when we're now running our company perfectly, like from our home, you know what I'm saying? So like, why would we need to do that? So I think a lot of the office space is going to decline. Apartments are going to have a big hit right now. You know, especially if you have the newer, more expensive apartments and stuff, because you see in Atlanta all the time, you see this like, you see these new construction of these big apartment buildings like down, they're charging like $2,000 a month. I mean, it's just gonna be like so expensive. Like not a lot of people are gonna be able to afford that, you know? So single family rentals are going to take a big hit, right? But not, you know, not a super big hit, but they're going to take a hit. And so you got to just be aware of that. Medical offices, right? And then self-storage, look where it is. Look where it is. It's like it's a third to the last, right? 16%, and I'm minus 16%. So yeah, we're going to take a hit. All right. Everybody's taking a hit. Yeah, we totally get that. And I bet you from these numbers, if you actually look deep into those numbers, that 16% is going to be big box office, right? It's going to be CubeSmart and U-Haul and, public storage and extra storage and all those kinds of spaces, right? Where like, you know, they have these big, huge facilities that they're charging like $150 to $250 a month for a unit, climate controlled and all this. And a lot of people are gonna be like, I just can't afford like $250 now. I can't even barely afford $150. So I'm gonna move all my space. And this is what we've seen in our mom and pop shops is a lot of people are like, I just can't afford $150 a month. So we're gonna move to our space over to your place and just pay like $60 a month or whatever, you know? So we're seeing a lot of that in our little mom and pop shops. So luckily, I feel like mom and pop shops are really going to be like kind of the foundation of the storage industry, and we're going to just hold it strong, right? That's my hope, at least. And then cell towers. Wouldn't it be great if you had like a storage facility and a cell tower on the same piece of property? You can actually do that. You can buy storage facilities and then put a cell tower up. I've seen many storage facilities do that, and then they get this residual income as well too, right? And data centers. Okay, so this is going to be like the next over the next few months. This is basically what you're going to see. So what I love, of course, is what you see is that self-storage is like one of the very few industries where even in a recession, even in a downturn, it's still doing good. You're still doing okay. All right. So what's going to happen? I have no idea. I literally have no idea, all right? But all I know is that I'm not going to stop looking for properties. I'm going to keep contacting sellers. I'm not going to give up. I know passive income is the best way to build long-term wealth. And I know that there's something on the very last one that I can't read because it's being blocked right now by me, so by Zoom. So, but all I know is that I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm not stopping to look for properties, okay? And I hope in the same respect that you're doing the same thing too. Okay, so this is actually from an article that I read from Marcus and Milchap. And you can find it. I'm going to give you the link to where you can find it in just a minute. But essentially and if you don't know Marcus and Milltrap, I mean, essentially they are like, they're like a data research company or whatever. They do a lot of different things. They're a brokerage. They're a brokerage, and then they do a lot of data research and all this kind of stuff. And so they basically put out, and it's in the commercial side, all right? They put out an article, and it was on the coronavirus and like what's happening and stuff. And this is like one of the inserts from there, but it said, with interest rates at an all-time low, real estate investors have a significant acquisition and refinance opportunity, the report states. Real estate is a long-term investment that is particularly well positioned to withstand financial market turbulence, all right? So right now, I'm telling y'all, now is the time to be focused on real estate, investing in all aspects of investing, and then especially storage facilities, right? Especially storage facilities, okay? While Marcus and Millchap forecasts commercial real estate to remain stable, bearing a major economic disruption, its outlook for self-storage is particularly positive, right? Particularly positive. Space but demand for self-storage units will experience little, if any, impact from the coronavirus, right? Isn't that awesome? Right? So this is like a report coming from like one of the largest commercial data research companies. So for me, that kind of gives me hope. Now, essentially, we have no idea what's going to happen, but essentially, like, like when Goldman Sachs says something, you kind of listen. It's the same thing in our industry. When Marcus and Millchap say something, we kind of listen to it, right? So, I mean, honestly, I'm in the storage world a lot. I'm talking to a lot of investors, and honestly, nobody's scared. No investor that owns storage facilities is scared. Yeah, like we may have had a downtick this month and like people moving in or whatever, but like so far so good. We're all doing really well. I mean, essentially, that's what you want when you're learning to invest, right? You don't want to have that, that worry, right? So in the storage world right now, and what we're doing and everything that me and my husband are doing is like, we just don't have that fear. Like we just know everything is going to be all right, right? And so that's what I want for you, is long-term wealth, passive income, and I want you to create that over time. And so that's kind of why I push storage facilities and learning how to push storage so well. Okay, so here is the link for the article that I just read. And actually this is Inside Self-Storage. The ISS is like the national organization for storage facilities. So I highly recommend you go to ISS, check out everything. They have all kinds of, they have like, what's it called? They're not doing it now, but they have like, the trade shows, and like they have like a spring and a fall where you can go and learn and educate and meet vendors and all kinds of things. And then they have like the website where they're educating you and stuff. So this is the website where I got that article from. So please check it out, and then just go. I mean, almost every day there's an article coming up, the coronavirus in the storage industry, what's happening. And so you can kind of just educate yourself on that, okay? Okay, so my personal opinion is, how do investors weather the storm, right? And this is from me just educating myself over the past couple of years, really kind of like paying attention to like investors that are actually doing well and making money. And I'm telling you right now, these are the 3 things that they do. These 3 things, right? And this is what you got to do. So for instance, like in our storage industry, like you can just in our storage facility company, these are the kind of things that we're focusing, or in like South Atlanta REIA for me, or in like, my Diamond in the Rough company. We are, all they do is they act early, right? So if you know me, I've been preparing for the downturn, literally preparing for the downturn for probably a year and a half. I've already known that the downturn is coming. All right. I've been buying storage facilities for, 3-4 years now, but literally preparing for the downturn for the past year and a half. So those investors that act early are the ones that are going to make it through this time, right? They took a long-term perspective, right? So just like, you need buy and holds, you need something that's going to give you that residual income through the downturn. and they focus on growth and not just cost cutting, right? So what's happening right now is all these businesses are like, shit, you know, now what I gotta get rid of my expenses, cancel this. I mean, I've seen like people are just like cancel, you know, trying to do this and just, you know, and trying to figure it all out. But the truth is, and what I'm focusing on right now are like essentially like how can I grow my company? Now is the time right now to focus on working on my company, building it up, getting the systems in place, getting my marketing in place. I mean, getting everything in place so that over the course of the next couple of weeks, when you can just start, you know, when you can just start focusing on just sending out letters or however you're going to be focusing on for your marketing. Okay. And we'll get into that in just a minute. But those are the three things. All right. Smart investors do these three things. Okay, what's the single most important thing that you should be doing right now, right? For me personally, and this is, I'm telling you, I have talked to everybody about this too, and these are the things that you should be focusing on. Number one is you've got to get your credit in order. You've got to get money in order. You've got to understand cash is king, right? The more cash that you have, then the more you're going to be able to buy, more you're going to be able to you know, to grow for your portfolio, right? You've got to get your credit in order. You've got to start working on credit repair. If you've got bad credit, you've got to start working on that right now. And you cannot stop looking for property. You just can't, all right? So even everybody's bowing down. Everybody's quiet right now, except for the smart investors. They're focusing and they're looking and they're getting their marketing in order and they're building and they're creating those systems and funnels or whatever you want to be doing in order to keep moving forward, right? Above all, you need to invest in some sort of a community, right? And be a part of some sort of a community, right? So that you can like not, not get so into your head, right? So yesterday, for instance, for the Southland area, we had the virtual vendor palooza. I mean, all day long there was just, one speaker after another, and then all the community of the Southland area were on there talking and asking questions, and in the chat they were just going crazy, you know. And it's just like, even when you're virtual, you still need that, right? Especially now, because we're just sitting here like, going, just like, whatever, doing whatever, working, or just going with our family, hanging with our family. And you need to definitely be investing in learning how to invest in real estate. And it doesn't matter what niche. Actually, you can watch my webinar that I did yesterday. I did a webinar, and it's on my YouTube page. Okay, so you can find that there. But essentially, it's which real estate investing strategy should I be focusing on right now? And I go through literally every single one of the strategies that you should be focusing right now and in the coming months as we go into the downturn. All right. So please, if you take some time, you can go and find that on my YouTube page. Okay, so why trust me? All right, who am I? Who's Stacey Rossetti, right? So I have been working in the real estate market now for almost 10 years. I've done over 100 rehabs in 5 years. 100 rehabs in 5 years. That's nuts, right? I've completed several hundred real estate transactions in the last 10 years. And I've taught hundreds and hundreds of students just like you over the last 5 years on either investing in storage facilities, rehabbing storage facilities, any type of investing strategy I've taught. And especially I teach a lot of beginner investors how to get their first deal, okay? I own 6 storage facilities as well, right? And I'm always looking for more. And I'm in the process of actually talking to a seller right now, and my lender, to see if we can work something out. And then on top of that, I just love teaching. I'm a teacher. That's what I am. I'm a teacher. I'm a facilitator and a teacher, right? And so I want to teach people how to invest in real estate, and I just love doing that. And let's see, go forward. Okay, so this is my family, right? So we live in the North Georgia mountains. We moved into a tiny house this past year in August, and we got rid of everything that we owned, pretty much, downsized, and bought this with cash, and then just decided that we're going to take a break. And the goal for us is to teach Lillian that experiences are more important than things, right? So that's kind of our focus and with Lillian's life right now, until she gets bored of us, you know, and she's like, this is horrible, then we'll like figure something else out. But for right now, like we just hang out in the mountains on our deck and just like look out. We can actually see on the back of that deck right there, we can see downtown Atlanta from our house, which is really cool. But that's us. That's my husband, Pete. That's my daughter, Lillian. She just turned 4 this past weekend. And if you know us, then you know that our storage facilities are called Miss Lillian Self Storage, right? And you can just go to misslillians.com if you want to check us out and see what we do and see how everything's set up. And everything is essentially, everything that we do on the storage facility side is all for Lillian, right? They're all in trusts and they're for Lillian, right? So everything that we do. So if we sell it, like let's just say if we sold a facility, one of our facilities, that money would go towards her, like to her education or something like this, you know, so that is all for her. Okay. So, and like I said, I rehab like these, and I didn't do like, my rehabbing was not like, I never did big rehabs. I was just too lazy, honestly. I did like little tiny rehabs, right? So I would take like a little tiny home like this, and then I would just do something like this, right? So that's kind of an example of me rehabbing a home. And inside also was just a very light rehab. I think we spent like maybe 30 grand or something, but like those are the typical kind of rehabs that I did. I wasn't good at big rehabs. I'm just not patient enough. I just said, like, I'm the type of person, like I love storage facilities. And the reason why I love storage facilities is because like, I want to make as much money as I possibly can with the least amount of work. I mean, who doesn't, right? Who doesn't? But especially me. That's what I'm thinking about now. So in my 10 years, believe me, I've done the 100 rehabs. I've grind. I mean, I was going crazy. And then after like, you know, 7 years of doing that, I was just like, what the hell am I doing, right? So I just started thinking about passive income. I started thinking about how am I going to start, you know, building wealth for Lillian, for us. And so that's why we got into storage facilities. That's really why. And so now our goal is just to buy as many storage facilities as we can. And what we do is we strategize on, you know, we buy about 4 or 5 of them in a cluster in the same area. And then we move on to the next thing. And then we have like a boots on the ground person that kind of manages those. And then what's happening is once we get those full, if we decide to, we can sell those as a portfolio. Because a lot of like, especially REITs, and especially in the price range that I'm in, which is like 500,000 or less. I mean, if you can put that together as a nice portfolio and sell it, they'll buy those, right? So, that's kind of our focus. That's our focus. Now, we may not sell them. We have a couple of them that we're making like pretty good money on, right? So we're just like, should we sell? But, you know, but for right now, that's kind of our goal. And to buy, you know, have like a couple of different groups around Georgia of like, you know, 4 or 5 different storage facilities. Let me see. I'm going to just pull up the chat just real fast. Let me see. And move on to the next slide. If you have any questions or whatever, just put them there. Okay. All right. So if you've ever heard any of my webinars, you know I love this slide. All right. So this is basically me over the last 10 years. This explains exactly who I am and what I've been doing. Okay. So I got in on the downturn I got on the upturn, right on the upturn, 2010, 2011, we rehabbed our first home, okay? And so you can see, like, as you get into the real estate market, this is exactly how you're going to feel, right? Put into the chat right now where you are on this cycle, all right? How are you doing, all right? So, like, as you can see, there, you know, I started out when I was going up and I was just like, hell yeah, I'm doing good, making some money. I made a lot of money in the very beginning. I was making money. I was happy. I was excited. You know, I was building up this business and I was thinking to myself, man, I'm brilliant. I'm brilliant. Oh my gosh, I was excited. All right. And then get all the way to the top, right, of the market. And then you realize there's like way too many hands in the pot. Too much competition, houses are too expensive, and then you're like, the spread is too small, and it's just like, it's too much, right? So then I'm thinking, okay, well now I need to be, should I be a long-term investor? Like what should I be doing? What, you know, what should I be focusing on, right? And then as you go down, if you don't start focusing on what the goal is which is to be a long-term investor, look at what you're going to be feeling: denial and fear and desperation and panic, right? Now, if you start to focus on becoming a long-term investor, you don't have to go through this, right? You get to be excited. Like right now, I am so excited about what's to come. You have no idea. I'm so excited. All right. But I want you to feel this as well too. You know, I want you to feel what I feel. All right. So I want everybody to start focusing on long-term wealth, right? So guess what? You're in the right place, right? Your search ends here because you have found me and I want to help you as much as I possibly can. Do you think I'm doing 9 webinars this month? 9 webinars to help you, to get you motivated so that you can keep moving forward in your real estate investing business. So I am here to help you on your real estate journey, okay? I want to help you, all right? I want to help as many people as I can to not, you know, to be scared of what's to come, because you shouldn't have to be. Okay. Okay. Let's get into some wholesaling stuff right now, okay? Why can I not see my chat? Why am I not understanding? Like, where does my chat go? I don't understand. When I click on chat, why does it not come up? I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand Zoom. Okay, all right. If you have any questions, I can pull up maybe Q. Oh, there's chat. Okay, let me just make sure. Been through the 2008, just getting back now. Okay, good. We see, been through the ups and downs of the cycle over the last 20 years. See it as an opportunity time to invest. Awesome, I love it. Okay, good, good, good. Okay, just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing, like anybody was saying, you're like, I can't hear you or something. Okay, awesome, all right. And then we have some some questions here, but I'll answer these questions at the end, okay? If you have any questions, just put them into the Q&A, it would be perfect. And I'll just pull those up and I'll ask them at the end. Okay, so now let's get into wholesaling. Actually, can you guys put into the chat also, like who actually wholesales? Who knows how to wholesale? And like who doesn't know how to wholesale? You're a newbie, you know what you're doing, you don't know what you're doing, right? So put it in the chat so I can see kind of what's going on with that too. So some of the challenges of wholesaling is that you have to find motivated sellers, right? You don't know how to close the deal. You don't know how to you have to make several different offers, right? You have to make a lot of different offers. How do you make offers to like an owner of a property, especially a storage facility, right? So how do you make these offers? How do you find the buyers? Where do you find the buyers to buy these storage facilities? Okay. So, so those are just some of the challenges that we're going to get to today. All right. So let's get started on wholesaling. And if you already have wholesale, you'll understand the process. Excuse me, but I just wanted to get in to wholesaling and kind of what it is, so everybody has an idea. Okay, I love wholesaling. Y'all, wholesaling to me is the gateway drug into real estate investing. All right, I've been wholesaling also since the very beginning. My very first deal was a wholesale deal. So I've been wholesaling for 10 years, all right? And I just love wholesaling because essentially the way that wholesaling works is if you can wholesale a property, and it doesn't matter what property it is, any type of property, you can wholesale anything. You can wholesale land, you can wholesale storage facilities, you can wholesale houses, commercial buildings, you can wholesale houses. I mean, anything that you want, you can wholesale, right? So, but you have to learn the basics of what wholesaling is. So essentially wholesaling is your gateway drug. And once you get into wholesaling, guess what? It opens up doors to everything else. So yeah, you can wholesale storage facilities, right? So my student that I'm teaching, one of my students that I'm teaching right now, like all they want to do is just wholesale, right? So they're wholesaling not only storage, but they're wholesaling houses, land, everything. They're wholesaling it all. That's what I'm teaching them to do. You know what I'm saying? So,
So once you learn how to do that though, and once you really get into it, so many other opportunities come, right? Because what happens is that you get all these deals coming across your plate, and then you're like, okay, should I wholesale this or should I keep this to myself, right? So you get to have the choice, the option, like, I don't want this one. Let's just wholesale this sucker out. Or yeah, I want to keep this one, right? So that's the best part about wholesaling, is that you get to decide which ones you want to keep or not. Like if you have a totally awesome deal, then you're going to be like, I want to keep this deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you, and then the other ones you can just wholesale off. So that's why I call it the gateway drug. You get in, you learn how to do it, and then it just opens up opportunities for so many other things. All right. So definitely learn to wholesale. All right. Okay. All right. So the wholesale process, how to wholesale. Okay. And you can wholesale anything, but storage, especially, you want to learn how to wholesale, right? Because you can make some big bucks with storage facility. There's so many buyers out there, so many buyers of storage facilities, because it's so awesome. Like, I would rather you honestly keep it if you can keep it, but I get that people want to wholesale it and make some cash or whatever. Totally get that as well too. Okay. Okay. So first for the wholesale process, basically what you have to do, number one, is you got to find the property, right? And we'll get more into detail of this, but this is just the step-by-step process. So you have to find the property, right? So you have to market to find the property. All right. There's a whole bunch of different ways we're going to get to in just a second on how to find properties. Okay. And then once you find that property, they call you and talk to you. Like, you have to talk to the seller, and you have to be like, yo, wait, like, like, do you want to sell or not sell? Like, how many units is it? What square feet is it? What price are you looking for? Are there any issues with it? Can I come see it? So you're like negotiating and talking to the seller. All right. And then you have to put it under contract, right? So if he says, yeah, like, I want to sell it, and then you work out the price, then you put it under contract. And what you do is you use a contract that's an assignable contract. Assignable, right? So if you do not know this word, make sure you learn what this word is. Assignable means that you can either keep it yourself or you can sell it to somebody else, right? So essentially, you as a wholesaler are just the middle person. That's it. So you find a seller, and you find a buyer, and you're the middle person, and you get that little cut. All right. So it's like they can either go to like a broker or a realtor and list it, and then the broker gets paid at closing, or they can come to you as the wholesaler, as the wholesaler, and then you just basically are the middle person between like the seller and the buyer. All right. And the very last step is that you find the buyer. You have to build your buyers list, and you have to close the deal. And I'm telling you, closing the deal, it's not easy. I don't think there's any deal out there that's easy to close. If you've had an easy deal where you're like, oh, this was so easy, like, that's few and far between. Deals are not easy to close. And essentially, all these steps, everything that's involved in wholesaling is not easy. It's not. So if anybody telling you wholesaling is easy, they're lying to you. All right. Because there's so many different moving parts. There's so much going on, right? So these are the step-by-step processes. But the thing is that there's so much going on that you just have to you have to be focused, and you have to really know what you're doing. Okay. So you find a property, you talk to the seller, you put it under contract, and you find a buyer. You just wholesaled a deal, right? That's it. Okay. Okay, so steps to wholesale a storage facility. These are your steps. So number one, you have to pick your market. All right, pick your market. Okay, so I would suggest probably not wholesaling like a storage facility in California. Okay, because number one, they're just too expensive. They're so expensive, right? Wholesaling storage facilities in like these huge major markets, like in Atlanta, in Denver, in Dallas or Fort Worth, or in New York, or in California, and all these big cities, in Seattle. I mean, it's just not, nobody's going to buy these types of facilities. You don't want to be focusing on big metro Atlanta areas because they're too expensive. All right. Now, maybe there's some buyers, like I have one of my students right now, he got a property under contract from the seller, He's wholesaling it for $1.2 million. Okay. And so, I mean, that's kind of like around that price or less is probably around your sweet spot. Like I would say you wouldn't really want to go higher than that. All right. Because the person, he has it actually under contract for a buyer to buy it, but that buyer is a REIT. Right? So a lot of the times, a lot of the people that, especially first time buyers, when they get in, like they're not spending millions and millions of dollars, right? They're just going to spend like, they say like, okay, like 500,000 to $1 million, or, 250 to 500,000, or $1 million to 1.5 million, right? But a lot of people, what I'm saying is that the more expensive that the facility gets, then the smaller your buyer pool gets, right? So focus maybe on the cheaper ones first, right? To get your feet wet, to figure it out. And then, and then after that, you can move on up to bigger ones, possibly, okay? All right, so picking your market means like picking it outside of a metro Atlanta area. So I focus on, a metro area. So I focus like outside of the metro Atlanta area. And actually I focus like, I'm kind of in a sweet spot. So I focus on in the Southeast. I know a lot of us are in the Southeast. Anywhere like South Carolina, North Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. It's just really, we're just in a really good spot for storage facilities, right? Really, really good spot, so because they're just so affordable, right? A lot of storage facilities, the ones that you talk to the sellers and convince them to sell, those are very affordable. Like if you go on, so for instance, let's move on to marketing. If you go and look at, have y'all ever heard of Crexi? CREXI? So Crexi or LoopNet, or if you go onto the MLS, like if you just go onto the MLS, like it's just the prices are so ridiculous. They're like 5, 6, 7 cap, and it's just not good, So I teach my students, like you need to be double-digit cap rates, right? Because when you're a double-digit cap rate, like everybody wants to buy that. Everybody wants to buy a double-digit cap rate, right? So but nobody wants to buy like a 5 or a 6 cap, right? So essentially, like what you want to do is you just want, like for your marketing, you can go on and look at those. Like I get like Crexi and LoopNet emails, like if there's like an email, like if there's a facility coming up, or because you have to kind of like on Crexi and like LoopNet, like there's no just like storage facility like section, right? They're just because they don't really come up very often, right? So but you can do, like you can click on like I think industrial or warehouse or something like that, and then you can get these emails emailed to you. So I pay attention to like what's coming up, but like I would never ever buy anything on there, so but you can at least start paying attention to the market, right? But for wholesaling, for marketing to wholesale, right? I always teach driving for storage facilities. This is what I teach. So you want to pick your market and you want to drive around. And essentially what you want to do is you want to go onto Google Maps, right? And then you want to search like storage facilities to give you kind of an idea of like, oh, in this area, all these storage facilities are coming up. But what happens is the ones that you're going to buy are not going to come up. But the only way for you to find them is actually to go onto Google Maps and then literally go onto the satellite imagery and search in between where all the storage facilities that are not on Google Maps, okay? And then drive by and try to figure out who owns that one. Essentially, that's what I do, right? So I just go onto Google Maps. I'll search in like, I'll search Jasper, Georgia, where I live, and like all these storage facilities come up. There's like way too many storage facilities in this little tiny town. And then I'll say like, okay, so now I need to start looking like, are there any storage facilities that are not on Google Maps? And the reason why is because to get on Google Maps is like so complicated. These older people that are owning all these storage facilities, they just don't know how to get on Google Maps, and they don't really care. They've been owning the storage facility for 20 or 30 years, and they're just like, whatever, like, I don't care if I, get on Google Maps. So they're not on Google Maps. And I'm telling you, there are so many storage facilities that are not on Google Maps. right? But the only way you can find them is by finding them on Google Maps, right? So you have to sit there and look for them. And this is what I do. This is what I do. I drive around, I look for them, I plan out my route, and then I drive around and look for the ones that are hidden. It's the hidden market. That's the hidden storage market. Ooh, that's a good title for a webinar. Anyway, so marketing, driving for storage facilities. Now you can get lists, or you can go get a storage list if you want. You can go buy a storage list and mail out to like storage owners, but guess what? Don't work very much. Don't work at all. Every once in a while you'll get something. Yeah, but for the amount of letters that you have to send out, like if you do like a mass email, like it's just not, nobody does this, right? So what we do is like, I'll drive around, like I'll look, I'll try to figure out where all the storage facilities are, drive around, make a list, find so many storage facilities, put them on this like master sheet, and then we'll mail a letter to the storage facility owner and the storage facility themselves. All right. So, and call as well. And then we call them, and then we just call them up. That's all we do is just call, and just talk to them. And that's really how we find our storage facilities, So I highly recommend, if you're just sitting around at your house right now, bored, like get on Google Maps, start looking for some storage facilities, call them up and be like, yo, you want to sell? Right? Like, would you be interested in selling? Like, hey, I'm looking for a storage facility. Would you be interested in selling? And talk to the owner. Don't talk. If they have an office manager, essentially say like, I need to talk to the owner. If they say no, well, then I'll say, okay, well, because a lot of them will say no, because they don't want to lose their jobs or anything like that. So talk to the owner. All right, so that's the acquisitions process, essentially, is just driving around. Looking on Google Maps, driving around and trying to figure out how to find storage facilities. It's not easy, right? It's not easy. It's kind of time consuming, honestly. It's pretty time consuming. So I plan 1 to 2, I do at least 1 day a month is what I do to look for storage facilities. When I go out and look for storage facilities, I'll find like 40 or 50 facilities in 1 day. All right. And but if you're like a wholesaler, of course, you could just do it as much as you want, but like me as an owner, I'm like, I only got time once a month, so that's what I'm doing. So that's it. So then after you do that, you have to put it under contract, right? You have to put it under contract. And we'll get into that here in just a minute. And then you got to build your buyers list up. You got to build your buyers list up. Let's go here to the next one. All right. So I went over a lot of this here. All right. So you've got to talk to motivated sellers. I already told you Crexi, LoopNet, MLS, marketing list, and Google Maps. If you can think of any other ways to find storage facilities, put it in the chat, because those are like, for me, the main ways to find storage facilities, unless I forgot one. Okay. And let's see what else. Let's go to the next slide, since I already did that. Acquisitions, you got to run comps. Obviously you run comps, so you kind of you have to run comps to see like, okay, what did the other storage facilities in the area sell for? And you can actually just run comps like right on Zillow. A lot of the times you can look and see if you can find the comps there, or what you can do is look on like Crexi or all the areas and say, okay, what is everything kind of selling for in that area? All right, you've got to figure out the cap rate. All right, so the way that I figure out the cap rate is I just use a cap rate calculator. If you get into my mastermind, and you're going to get like a deal analyzer and all this kind of stuff, but essentially the easiest way is to just get a cap rate calculator. So I use like a cap rate calculator. It looks like this. Let me see if I can show y'all, if y'all can see this. I hope y'all can see this, but it looks like this. And so essentially, let me see, where is this? Oops, that's not it. Can y'all see this? Because I can't see the chat. I can't see chat. So hopefully y'all can see this. But anyway, so cap rate calculator. And you need to, on your cap rate calculator, you need to have a purchase price, the gross rental income, vacancy rate, and operating expenses, right? So purchase price, gross rental income, vacancy rate, and operating expenses. So these are the things that you need to get from the seller, right? In order to run the numbers, all right? So these are the things. You've got to know, what is their gross rental income, right? What is their vacancy rate and what is the operating expenses? And you can do two different things. You can do like as is right now, because maybe they're like 25% full or whatever. And then like, what could they be making, right? So as of right now, they're only making, you know, whatever. They only have 25% full, so they're making this much money, but they could be making this much. And that's kind of how you market it to the buyers as well too, right? And so that's how I figure out a quick deal analysis right here. So you need to get the documents that you need from them. Would always be, of course, the rent roll, right? You need to get like a P&L and a balance sheet if they have it, but a lot of them, I'm gonna tell you, they don't have it. They don't have anything, you know. So essentially, get as much information as you can from them. Take a lot of pictures. And then you have to make like a wholesaling package, right? So you're going to be selling this to other people. So the other people that are going to be interested in buying, they're going to want to know. They're going to want to know if you have a P&L and a balance sheet, a rent roll, you know, anything like surveys or plats or like pictures, like any type of information that you can get from the seller. That's what you would do, is like basically get all that. And then what I do is just create a Google Drive folder and then just put it right into the Google Drive folder. And then once you calculate it all up, once you try to figure out what the price is, then you make the offer. Okay, so you have to make the offer. And you want to be, like I said, you want to be double-digit cap rate or higher. I mean, all the ones that I buy, they're probably 12, 13, 14, 15, 16% cap rates. I mean, super high cap rates. Okay. So, you know, that's what we want. That's what storage facilities owners want, you know. The ones like me, like there are ones that like just want businesses, and you know, there may be some bigger companies or whatever that are just acquiring, you know, and they'll be okay with like a 7 cap, but like you'll have to play it by ear to see what they want over the next couple of months or so, you know, but nothing less than 7 or 8 cap, honestly, for the bigger companies. I mean, we want to make money, right? Okay. Okay. Liquidations. Okay, so now you got to sell it. You put it under contract. You got the contract. Remember what I said about the contract. You have to have an assignable contract. Okay, it's got to be assignable. And then you've got to start building your buyers list up, and you find cash buyers. How do you do this? I mean, honestly, the easiest way to do this is just to go onto the Facebook groups. There's like, I think there's like probably like maybe 5 to 10 storage Facebook groups. So you get in there, and then once you get under contract, just post it in there. Like, hey, I've got a storage facility for sale. Is anybody interested in this? And you'll get so many people that are interested, because there's so many people looking for storage facilities. Okay, so, and people from all over the country will buy all over the country. That's another thing about storage industry, is like people are like, you'll have people in like California buying in Atlanta, and New York buying in Texas, and people buying in Louisiana. Like I have a friend he lives in Pennsylvania and owns them in Louisiana. So like, and actually that's, I mean, the thing with storage facilities is that it's easy to manage storage facilities. So you could just essentially buy them wherever you want to manage them, because you don't really need a lot of work. They don't need a lot of work. And then what you could do also, if you can't sell it, then partner with somebody else that could help you to sell it, right? So find another wholesaler and you guys partner up. Like if you have a list, you know, then you can say like, hey, like let's partner up and I'll pay you X amount of dollars to like help me find this like buyer. So there's a lot of wholesalers out there. There's not a lot of storage facility wholesalers out there, like a handful, but like once you get into it and start learning, you know, start posting out in the Facebook groups and stuff, you'll start learning who the storage, like the wholesalers are in the storage industry, and then you just partner up with them, right? Because they're gonna, I mean, they know what they're doing as well too, and they may have some buyers on their list that they're, you know, they're saying, hey, I'm looking for this right now for my buyer. Okay. And then you want to close the deal. All right. So to close a storage facility is like not easy, just like every other property. I keep saying it's not easy, right? So, you know, people, I mean, buyers in the storage industry and the commercial industry, they require a lot of things. All right. So they require like a P&L and a balance sheet. They require like rent rolls. They require all these different, you know, they want the lease agreements. They want to know like how much security deposit was put down. So like there's a lot of different things that you have to do. So just be prepared that to close the deal, takes a lot of work. You have to do a lot of work in order to close the deal, okay? This is not like you hand it off to like the attorney and then like let them close the deal. I mean, it's like you have to come up with like a whole bunch of different stuff because you're actually selling a business. And so you have to come up with all these documents and stuff. So I just want to prepare, because like a lot of people just kind of think like, oh, once I got it under contract and I'm going to sell it, I'm going to make this money and it's awesome. And it's like, yeah, no, it's not done. It's not closed. It's not easy until like you actually get like you actually close and get that wire transfer, right? And then you're done, right? But up until that very moment, and if you've ever been in the real estate industry, you know that like literally everything happens in the 11th hour. Everything, like everything goes wrong like the day of the closing. It just does. So be prepared for that is what I'm saying. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me pull up the chat. Let me see if I can pull up this chat. Anybody? Oh, we got lots of chats coming up. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any. Okay. Okay. So, okay, I understand the concept, but never done it. Okay, good. But I've bought rentals from wholesalers. I need a step-by-step process checklist. Well, you're in my mastermind, Kaylee. So we can spend like a whole day on this. All right, I'll put this on the calendar, and for anybody in my mastermind, I will literally take you step by step, and we'll just spend like hours and hours and hours until you completely understand. So you don't have to worry about it. You're in my mastermind. All right. In a 1 hour webinar, you can only do so much, but at least I give you the general idea. You know what I'm saying? Okay, good. I've been wholesaling for several years. I wholesale all the time. Awesome. I'm getting a lot of people talking here. I love this. Okay, so no final questions. Okay, good. I don't see any questions here. That's good. Are the Facebook groups for storage units? There's storage facilities. So a unit is a unit, like a 10 by 10 unit and a 20 by 10 unit, right? But like a storage facility is what you want to call it. It's a storage facility is what you're going to be buying or wholesaling, not a unit, all right? Because a lot of people do mix that up. So I'm just going to clarify. Okay, so now essentially you kind of have the process down, all right? The step-by-step process, right? Let's go back so I can just clarify. Why can I not see this? Okay. This strategy right here is essentially the process. You got to find the property, talk to the seller, negotiate, put it under contract, assign it, and find the buyer. All right, that's the process. That's really the process. That's it. All right. Now, yes, it's difficult. It's not easy, but like that's the process. All right. So hopefully you guys wrote all that down. You've got to figure out how to find the property, and then you got to talk to the seller. Everybody knows, like I see a lot of people, they're always asking, how do you find the property? But guess what? That's only step one and like a gazillion steps to the very end. All right. So that's what I wanted to point out is like to find the property is only one step. That's it. That's it. You've got to take it through the entire process, right? So, but now at least you understand what the steps are, okay? And so now what I wanted to go over is just if you need help in hand holding, right? This is exactly what I do. And this is what I do for all my students, all right? Is just taking you through the step-by-step process for you to learn how to wholesale, not even just wholesale storage facilities, but actually to like even buy them and like start building passive wealth, because that's my goal. Is like really for people to be in the same position that I'm in, where it's like, yes, I know that I could sell my facilities right now, right? Cash is king, and have a lot of cash. Like I'm not going to sell mine because they're buying wholes, but essentially like when I want everybody to be in that position. So you get a coach, right? You get a mentor, and let them take you step by step to start building this. Now, it's not easy to do it, but that's why you need a coach. That's why you need guidance. You need somebody that knows what they're doing, right? So I wanted to just introduce you guys to the Super Simple Self-Storage Mastermind. You see, there are a couple of students from the mastermind right in this group, watching the webinar. But and if you're interested, you can just go to this website. It's stacyrossetti.com/self-storage is where you can go check it out. But essentially you just get group coaching every other Tuesday, right? So I'm going to be there, and actually I just stand here and there's a flip floor, and I just teach, right? We get speakers to come in and get, like this past Tuesday, we had a couple of owners come in, and they literally just like went over like how they and they had like three to like, one had 3 storage facilities, one had 7, and they just went over they're like, how did they find their storage facilities, and like, how do they run them, and like, everybody got to ask them questions. And then we talked about like I taught like how to find private lenders, how to start looking for money, because especially in the downturn, you're going to need private money if you want to start buying them, right? So we do like every other Tuesday, we have like a group coaching call, and then we're going to do 2 face-to-face masterminds where we get together and we just like mastermind, right? Which means that like everybody's going to talk about their challenges and wins, and then like we're going to all help each other. And the thing is, the power of group coaching is that like now everybody's kind of this little community, right? And they're talking to each other. We have like a private Facebook group. And so you go into the private Facebook group, and I'll go in, and like everybody will be talking to each other, and I'll be like, oh, I totally missed out on like all these conversations, because everybody's like holding each other accountable, helping each other out, trying to keep each other motivated, and that's the power of group coaching, is that it's just, you don't just have me, you have like everybody in the group, you know what I'm saying? So that is basically the Super Simple Self-Storage Mastermind. And so then you have what is really cool is that you actually have like the accountability software. So like we have what's called Coach Accountable, and then you can get there and then you can like create all these different goals for yourself. You can be like, okay, my goal is to call like 10 storage facilities a week. All right. So you set this goal in there, and then essentially what happens is the accountability software is like, did you reach this goal? And if you put no, you go into the red. And if you put yes, you get into the green. And then when you start seeing all these reds, you're like, shit, like I need to start like speeding up. I need to figure this out. So if you put your goals in, I tell this to my students, if you put your goals in, that software will hold you accountable. All right. And then we also have kind of like a group accountability as well too. So we can like hold each other accountable. I use the accountability software for all of my goals. And my wish is for all of my students to also use this as well, to keep them on track. All right. And then also on top of that, on Fridays, we have coaching, like I have office hours. So I open myself up like for the whole day, and I just have like coaching calls, and I just sit there and I answer, and like I get on with everybody, and they have all their questions ready, and they're like, okay, I need help with this deal. Is that a good deal? Or like, what should I do to keep moving forward? Or like, what should I be focusing on right now? And then we just talk about it. And I want y'all to keep moving forward. So that's kind of what I'm there for on Fridays. And then let's see what else. And then you get like all the documents. So, all checklists, everything that you need to run your business. Like I said, like the very first part is just finding the deal, right? But then after that, you have to set your business up, right? So our business is set up so that we can run it from an iPad. Right? Our business is set up so we can run it from our phone. We have not met our tenants in literally years. Like every once in a while we'll go down, we'll be doing something, and like some tenant will come in and be like, hey, who are you? And I'll be like, oh, we're the owners. Oh, we finally get to meet you. Yeah, because we've never met any of our tenants ever, because our storage facilities are like hours away. Right. So like, that's the best thing about storage facilities, is that it's not a lot of work. Right. So, but we give you all the structure on how to set your business up so that you can automate it and like run it from your phone. Right. And then, okay, so finally, and then if you're kind of on the line and you're just like, I just don't know like what I'm doing, how do I get started? I'm offering to everybody on the call right now just an implementation strategy session. All right, so that's where you can get with me on the phone for 30 minutes, and I will tell you like, okay, this is what you need to be focusing on. This is like your first steps, like what's going on, why, what do you need help with, right? And so if you're interested, all you have to do is just go into the website, stacyrossetti.com, self-storage, just click on it, and it's going to take you, all it's going to do is just take you to an application. So like if you click on that, like it's all by application as well too, right? So just to get into the mastermind, I just don't let anybody in. Like you have to apply for it, and then we'll actually talk on the phone, and I'll talk to you to see if it's a good fit or not, right? And so that's kind of what that is. So if you're interested, I highly recommend just go check out stacyrossetti.com, click on the self-storage link from there, and then and then if you're interested, apply, and then we'll set up a call, and I'll just call and talk to you. And like, no matter what it's about, real estate and industry stuff, anything, I can help you to keep moving forward. Okay. So that's basically what I wanted to go over for today. That was it. So now we have questions. So let me pull up Yeah, let me pull up some questions. Is everybody, I see questions in the Q&A. Regarding a refi, I have seen trends of lenders scaling back on their LTVs and their appraisal numbers. Any insight on this? Are you talking about commercial lenders or hard money lender? I mean, are you talking about for houses or for commercial stuff? I mean, overall, essentially, yes. Like when you get into a downturn, right? Finding money from a lender is going to be difficult, right? But SBA, especially SBA, oh my gosh, if you take an SBA loan out on a storage facility right now, guess what? They're going to pay the first 6 months or not have you pay in the first 6 months, right? I mean, isn't that amazing? So, I mean, a lot of people use SBA to find money for storage facilities, but you can use hard money lenders, you can use private money lenders. So whatever. But the thing is yeah, in a downturn, money is harder. So that's why we're focusing in the group coaching on finding private money lenders to loan on storage facilities. So because it is going to get harder and it's going to get more expensive, right? So let's not have all of our eggs in one basket. Commercial loans will still be available. They're just going to be a little bit higher. SBA loans will be available. Private money lenders will be available. So there's a lot of ways to find money. All right. And I remember I got in on the upturn when there was no money, there was nothing. And I had to go out and find private money lenders. That's the only way I could have invested in real estate, is if I had private money, because otherwise I would have paid 15 and 5 points or, something like this. And I was like, screw that. So I just went out and started finding private lenders. And in my very first deals, I was paying like 10%, and that was in the downturn. Okay. So you can always find money. Money to me is always just a mindset. It's always just a mindset. Okay. Trying to build capital. Awesome. How do you run comps or come up with an ARV? So you have to, basically you have to go off of basically what you do is look around at all the storage facilities that are in the area. All right. And you have to figure out what they're charging, like competitive wise, like what are they charging as well versus yours, right? And then you have to say, okay, how much money could I possibly make on this one storage facility that I want to put under a contract or whatever. And so that's kind of have to do it, because you could have basically right next to each other. I was talking to somebody that was in our group coaching this past week, and he has we had one guy had 100 units and the other guy had 100 units. And this guy, he had an older 100 units that didn't have any paved asphalt, no gate around it, nothing, right? It was just kind of it's eventually he said he'll do that. But for right now, he's like, yeah, whatever. It's out in the country. It's fine. And then we had another owner that had 100 units, and it was paved asphalt, really nice gate, really nice keypad. Well, guess what? Even though they're almost exactly the same square footage, the same size, it's going to be 2 different prices, right? Because this one, to pave an asphalt and to put this nice gate up and to put the security system in that he is and all that, well, yeah, that's more expensive, right? So this one is going to be a completely different price than this one, right? So I think he paid $300,000 for his, right around $300,000, and this one paid $450,000 or something. And it was almost exactly the same size and everything. It's just 2 different types of storage facilities. So what I mean is that you have to get to know storage facilities. You have to educate yourself on all the different types of storage facilities. You have to know how much a gate's going to cost, how much the security is going to cost. And that's how you really evaluate something, is because you can have 2 right next to each other, almost exactly the same size, completely different prices, just based on all of the bells and whistles and how much they charge per month and how much they're making and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's really honestly a full, that's why you would get into the coaching, is to learn how to run comps and run numbers like that. Okay. Cause that's a whole day workshop to teach that. Okay. And yes, this is being recorded. Okay. We got more chats here. Let's do this. Uh-oh. Okay. 2.75 for residential, 39 years for commercial. Okay. What's the depreciation rate on storage facilities? Okay, there you go. You got it right there. Oops, does the buyer or the seller pick the title company? I mean, honestly, like I try as the seller, I mean, I try to pick the attorney because like I know my attorneys and like they never, like the buyer or the seller is like, you know, they don't ever close like a deal, right? I'm closing like deals all the time. So my attorney kind of knows me. So I really kind of just push my attorney if possible. But sometimes they're just like, no, you have to use my attorney. Like I just closed on the one up here and they were like, no, you have to use my attorney. And I was like, fine, but it was a pain in the ass. You know, it's like, I wish I would have just used mine because it would have been like bing, bang, boom, I could have closed. But no, like this attorney doesn't know me, doesn't know anything about me. I had to send all his documents and do all this stuff. And it was just like a pain in the ass. So use your attorney if you can, once you start getting into it over and over again, but otherwise, no. Yeah, like you're going to have to use their attorney. Okay. Or title company, however, whatever one. Okay, cool. What other questions? What's the average size of a storage facility? It's like every size from like 30, like you just said, like Heather's looking at like a 30 unit up to like hundreds of units, 1,000 units. I mean, there's like huge big ones or whatever. So there's like all size, all different ones. Okay. But essentially like if you want to be $1 million or less, you're going to be, you know, a couple hundred units or less, essentially, is what you're going to be like, you know, and an average, like $1 million, like 50,000 square feet, like, or less, but the sweet spot's going to be like maybe 15 to 20 or 10 to 20 square feet, 20,000 square feet, something like that. Okay. All right. Good questions. Okay. Any other final questions? Is there different search criteria for RV boat storage? No, there's not, Carson. Do the same thing I just told you. Okay, cool. What else? Anything else? Any other final questions? Anything? Nothing. Okay. All right. So hopefully you go to my website, just go to stacyrossetti.com, check me out, and then I will see you at the next webinar. I'm having a couple more next week, so just pay attention. All right. I'm here for you. All right. Stay safe. Bye, guys. Stay safe. Stop share. All right. Thank you. Have a good night.